What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another live stream. And today is a good day. I'm telling you, it's always good when your team gets a win, man. Finally, we got off the schneid. 20 losses in a row. Oh my God. After the game, I think, I don't know if I put it on Facebook. I don't know if I put it on Twitter. I know I put it on Facebook. I said, God save the queen. We did it. I'm elated. How are you feeling?
Show your Jaguar, man. That's how I feel. Show that Jaguar.
I can definitely show the Jaguar today, man. We gonna give it some definitely love today.
It's always good to cover a team when they win, and that was a good win for the Jags. To come through the clutch with a field goal, last second field goal. So no more talk about the 20 consecutive game losing streak, even though it's the second longest in NFL history.
Oh,
and
just hearing that, man,
all that is pushed aside, man. They 1-5 with 11 games to go after this week. Good deal, though.
Yeah. Good deal. And I am glad for it. And we are going to jump into them. But first, we have to get into some college football news. Now, we haven't talked much college football because, dude, we've had other topics. Everything else has been booming. But I have been keeping up with college football. I have been watching. But this story out of college football with Ed Orgeron has agreed to part ways with LSU at the end of the season. And it's very strange that this is happening because, well, he just won the national championship 21 months ago. And I've never seen a national championship coach be ousted so quickly outside of probably, was it Chiswick with Auburn?
Yeah.
That happened pretty quick. But other than that, I just couldn't believe it. But the story surrounding it, when you hear about what he did and what's going on. And what up, Ness? Fellas, I told you we were going to win in London. Yeah, he said it. He did. He said it last week. He did say it last week. But this Ed Orgeron Ness is crazy. So not only did he have issues with players, issues with coaches. They said players didn't want to play for him anymore. Coaches didn't want to coach for him. He was bringing his girlfriends, plural, girlfriends to practice, letting their kids play and run the drills and stuff like that. He had been seen out and about, multiple shirtless pics with young women in various locations. Because he had got a divorce, so he went wild. That's what, after people get a divorce, they kind of go wild. That's the MO. That's what happens. That's no big deal, right? It's not such a huge deal. Nothing super serious. But wait, there's more. So he's at a gas station, and he sees a lady who's pregnant, and he tries to get at her. He said he's trying to spit some games. Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear. And she said, hold, I'm pregnant, and my husband worked for LSU. And his response was, baby, keep it on the down low. Don't nobody got to know. And that raspy voice he got, I got to just imagine that's how he sounded when he said it to her.
Yeah.
I'm sure. It just sounded so wrong and so dirty when he said it because of that raspy voice. Her skin probably crawled, and she called her husband right away like, you will not believe what just happened. Listen, don't talk to the lady. Of course, she told her husband. And now we're here. Fast forward to today. He will be leaving LSU at the end of the season. More stuff is probably going to come out because, as you reminded me, they're on the investigation for players getting paid. So it's an all-around mess at LSU, one of the best jobs in college football.
Yeah, I tell you what, boy, my old Louisiana. I say, Brandon, I don't know if you can sum it up any better than what you summed it up, man. But old Ed is Ed, man. A lot of people were saying when he first took that job, though, that, man, they didn't get the right guy.
The press clippings were out. Oh, my God, everywhere. It's a terrible hire, awful hire.
He didn't win at Ole Miss. They basically ran him out of Ole Miss. Yep. He didn't do anything. He got mad. He was an intern. He was the interim coach at USC. He felt he should have got that job. And when he didn't get it, you could just see from that moment, man, he didn't handle that professionally. He was saying stuff on the side about how they didn't treat him right and those kind of things. And I don't know, man. I mean, that raspy voice. I mean, the guy, he can recruit. There's no doubt about recruiting.
Yes, he can.
But coach ability, I've actually seen a game this season where there was I don't know if he was assistant or he was a grad student coach or what, but he had a guy standing next to him the whole game. And from the television, you just see this guy telling them stuff. It looked like he was telling, all right, coach, 3rd and 4, how many timeouts? We got 3 timeouts. And it just, in the early part of his career at LSU, it was like, man, he would forget things. He didn't make good in-game decisions. And it just like it was, it was almost like chaos on the sideline, And, all the stuff that you said about the girlfriends coming on at practices, and they done had so much with females and with players accusations of all kind of things doing his. But this is before he got there, but it didn't really stop. With one less miles left, it was just a carryover to the same thing that was going on when he was there, when Ed took over. And it's just, man.
Darius Geis got accused of assaulting like an older lady.
Yeah, he got
while he was at LSU.
Yeah, I think it happened like during a bowl game. This lady was like 47, 48 years old, man. She was working in the stadium at the Superdome. It happened at the Superdome when they were in a bowl game when he was there. And she politely told him that area or something where he was walking at was off limits. And man, he told her, he said something, everything in the book to the lady. Yeah, and she testified something. I think there was something going on where they wouldn't hear or something. She kept, so she pressed the issue. She went to LSU to say, you got to take this young man off the team. I mean, he's a bad example, and LSU looked the other way. Yeah, so I think she went to the board of supervisors and recalled everything. And I don't think anything still didn't happen to the player. But man, being around that school, I covered them for 3 years back in the early 90s, and I tell you what, man, I know that Gainesville is Gainesville and Tallahassee is Tallahassee, but I don't think there's any place like Baton Rouge, man. I mean, everything in that town is pro LSU. They can't do any wrong. Players can't do any wrong. I see players that went in restaurant, Applebee's, don't pay for food, nothing said, nothing. I mean, they can go to any bar in Baton Rouge. The tab is on the house. I done covered guys that they were literally on a Saturday used to get in fights over there in Tigerland, which is like an area, it's a bar area off campus where they just fight every Saturday and still be back at practice on Monday. Even if they done been arrested on Saturday, Sunday morning, they're back at practice on Monday. And I don't think they're ever gonna clear the culture that football is everything in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, man. And there's a rule for this, and there's a rule for football players. And I think that's the culture. I'm not shocked. I mean, I used to hear stories about Leonard Fournette used to show up for practices for late and nothing was said to him. He had to go to New Orleans, you go. And this just, I mean, it ain't just happening now. This has been going on for decades, Yeah. And, I guess Ed say, well, if the players can get away with stuff, so why not me?
Why not me?
But you know what? I watched that Florida game. And even though that game was at noon, they done added, I think in the last 10 years, I think LSU probably have added at least 20, 30,000 more seats at Tiger Stadium. So I'm up there. They showed a you know, like a visual of the stadium and the seats, the seating areas and everything. He lost that job because they can't put the fans back in the seats. I mean, you looking at playing rival Florida, and I don't even. I mean, that stadium looked like it was a third full, and even for a noon game, you know, it wasn't a night game, but even for a 12 o'clock, 11 a.m., it was 11 a.m. in Baton Rouge. You know, that's what they judge if you stay or go. Like if Ed would have did this and they were 9-0. It would have been like, okay, yeah, all right. Well, you know, better luck next time. But you know, just take care of your business. But what they 3-3 or whatever they are?
Yeah, I think 4-2, 4-3, something like that.
And just got embarrassed the week prior to playing Florida by Kentucky. They got out physical. They just got embarrassed. And but if he had been winning, all of that would have been pushed under the rug, man. And that's just how Baton Rouge and LSU is. If you win, we don't see nothing. If you lose, we see everything.
Yeah. He's talking about Eastside High football teams, LSU.
Yeah, man.
Hey, LSU is the real life Bishop Sycamore, okay? They just legit. They actually exist.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, man. So I'm sure we're going to hear more about it as time goes on because that investigation isn't over. I'm sure it goes very, very deep. Money being paid out to all those recruits.
Man.
I mean, the national championship team has so much NFL talent on it. It's insane. Like it's almost like if they did not win that game, it would have been a travesty. Because now you look at it now, look at what those guys are doing in the NFL. You're like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. And, you know, it used to be a time where LSU could not recruit any kids out of New Orleans. They used to have a big in the 90s when Archer was the head coach there and going into Curly Hallman's reign, they could not recruit a kid from LSU. I mean, from New Orleans.
Wow.
And they wind up changing that. But, man, I used to cover preps, and, man, it was a lot of cars exchanged during those times.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
You know, I don't know, man. LSU, boy, they might get hit pretty hard. You know, Brandon, the pressure is everybody in Louisiana feels that there's no way Alabama should be up here and LSU down here.
Yeah,
they're gonna have that complex now. They don't care how many. And then another thing is Nick Saban won a national championship at LSU. Yeah, and to have Nick to go to Alabama and win as many as he won, that rivalry, man, is just, you know, and LSU people feel we got the resources, we got the fan base, we got the athletes. There's no way in the world that Alabama should be above us. And that's how they judge every coach. Every coach that done been there, from Les Miles to whoever. You don't beat Alabama, you ain't gonna be there long.
Yeah.
And this guy came in, you know, he's not a great coach, but he's a great recruiter. He had that great season. And like you say, it's 21 months since they had a national championship and he's out the door. And they also did it this way. You know, he's a motivator. You know, I can't, you know, you can't chastise him for motivating his guys. Yes. And I think LSU basically said, no, we're not going to have this guy win out or win the final 6 games of the season and put himself in position to keep this job. So we got to make that we got to make this decision right now. We got to pay him out. You know, they paying this guy $17 million.
Yeah, to go away.
Go away.
Yep.
$17 million to go away. That tells you all you need to know right there. What's the financial amount is invested in that football program, man. And the sad story is, as long as Nick Saban in Alabama, I don't think they're going to be on that level. I mean, they might have a great season every now and then, like they had in 2019, but consistently, I don't see it. And then you talking about bringing in Oklahoma And Texas, I mean, I ain't worried about Texas, but
Yeah.
Oklahoma, man.
Yeah, man, what happened? What happened to Texas? Oh my goodness. That is a travesty about what's going on with Texas right now. It's on the level of almost on the level of Florida State. They're not as bad as Florida State, but for those two blue chip, those are blue chip jobs. There's not many of them.
Yeah.
But those both those are blue chip jobs. And for those teams to be that bad, it's a crime, man. You see,
I'll be honest with you, with Texas, with Texas,
mm-hmm.
I don't think that many. It might be Ohio State a little bit, and maybe USC. No program in this country has more money from alumni to whatever. They got a Avenues Mall on their campus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what the money is, man. Let's say, dude, when I saw the Longhorn Network, I was done. I said, dude, they got their own network. You know, teams were relying on, say, the SEC network, ACC network, Big Ten network. They got their own network. They say, no. We have our own, and they funded it themselves. Crazy. They say, I'll take $1 million and won't say LSU for life. Oh yeah, I'll take $1 million. You won't even. I won't watch LSU. Won't talk about LSU. Won't never write LSU in a sentence.
Yep.
Give me $1 million. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let alone 17.
Yeah, we may not hear from them in a while anyway. They get put on probation. So.
Right. Right. Because it's going to be interesting because the guys are getting paid, man. You gotta know that.
Look at the talent that they had in that 2019 team, man. And they didn't just have Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't just Joe Burrow, dog. That team was talented, man. And then the receivers, dude. Look at what the receivers doing from Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Oh, come on, man. Yeah.
Yeah, Jamar Chase, the #1 rookie right now in the NFL.
Yeah, I think the top 3 receivers, their tight end, their quarterback, and running back, maybe. And I think maybe 2 linemen are all in the league right now.
Well, how many they had first round picks off 2019 team?
Off the 2019 team, I know off the top of my head, you got 3. You got 3 picks off the top of my head. Yeah, at least. And that's 219 because you still got Stingley's coming. Stingley's going to be a first round pick.
Yep.
The corner. Yeah. And I think you got a couple potential #1 picks on the team that's coming out this year too. So yeah, and they were on that team. So yeah, it was a lot of talent, man. But hey,
most of it's homegrown too. They got great high school football there, but it's just I don't know, man. I just think they're always gonna compare themselves to Alabama. Then when you go 10-2, that ain't good enough. If you lost to Alabama, that's not good enough. And I just hope with the whoever they look here to replace Ed. He better be a big name who can handle that fan base. Yeah,
that's what I said. They got to look to make a splash hire. I know that whoever it is, they're in competition probably with USC. If they won't splash hire, you're gonna be in competition with USC for this job. I would say if I had to choose between the two, LSU got that investigation going on. I would want to know a little more about that and what's coming down the pipe because I'm sure they already know what's coming.
Yeah.
And if it's manageable, I take the LSU job just off of them coming off the national championship, still having talent on the team, and probably got a nice incoming recruiting class coming in. USC is going to be a little tougher job to build up, because the jars, the jar, there are not many jars on the shelf at USC right now. From what I've seen, I'm sure you got some talented kids, and we'll see how much coaching played a part in the lack of wins. Because Clay Helton, I from the beginning, I was like, why is he the USC coach? I didn't get that when they hired him. I said, why are they hiring him? Why are they hiring this guy?
Well, what he had, like one decent season at Texas?
One.
Yeah.
One. That's it. One. So I don't know, man. We'll see.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure about the coach that Texas got there right now.
Oh no, I don't know. Yeah, Diaz, no, mm-mm. No,
Yeah.
no. He's going to be gone. He's going to be gone. Just like Miami. Miami's coach is going to be gone. Now, coach is probably going to be gone. I think Texas is probably going to be gone. And it was two other jobs they were talking about the coaches may be on the hot seat. Can't think of them right now. But if I'm any of them, Eric Bieniemy, do you want to coach college football? Bring him on. Why not?
I'm surprised like USC hadn't dialed his number. I know they did the former Chargers coach just to see if he had any interest, but I don't know where it went from there.
Anthony Lynn.
Yep. He said he would be interested, but I hadn't heard anything else from that.
Anthony Lynn would be a good pickup for USC.
Yeah.
I think he's a great coach, and I think he got short end of the stick in LA. It is what it is because they couldn't finish games last year, and they got off to a great start this year. But as most things, teams that started hot, we're going to see a cool down from a few of them.
Yeah. I don't know. That'll be interesting to see who LSU end up having as their head coach. I mean, I've heard some rumors that it could be Penn State coach, but I mean, that'll be almost like a lateral move, and I would think unless they just pay him out enormously. But frankly, I've heard that through the from the reports that he could emerge as one of the top candidates if he's interested.
Yeah. So, that's it. So, man, let's move on. Let's go into the NFL.
Yes, sir.
This we're gonna start it out, Mr. Logan Wilson, before we get into the Jaguars. Bengals linebacker was in a press conference talking about Lamar Jackson and facing him, and he said that Lamar was a running back that plays quarterback. And man, when I tell you,
that's just
I tell you, he moonwalked those comments back almost immediately. I mean, he moonwalked almost better than Michael Jackson. Moonwalked off those comments, man. He backed up. He's like, "Well, no, I meant it as a compliment." Yeah. We know
as a compliment.
That's what he said. That's what he meant as a compliment. So I'm sure the Bengals PR people were like, "Yo, you got to go fix that. You got to fix that like right now." And the Ravens needed no motivation. Lamar doesn't need any more gas in the tank right now. And you just gave him a gallon of premium gas, like you did.
Yeah,
you did. So I'm sure all week in the facility they playing that on the loop probably.
But I'm so sick and tired. I mean, this kid, he's been hearing that for his whole career. He came out of Louisville. They were talking about. Well, I actually heard announcers. I heard announcers said, he probably best serve himself playing wide receiver.
Yeah.
And this when he was like third leading passer or something like that in the nation while he was at Louisville, man. And it just, I mean, I'm almost to the point. I think I've said this earlier on your show, man. I mean, what more does he have to do? He passed for over 400 yards like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, he runs because he's fast. I mean, when we talk about Trevor Lawrence running, we don't say, "Oh yeah, he it's like, yeah, he's a better runner than he is a passer." We don't say that.
Right.
But if you can extend plays and you can be a dual threat, I don't see anything wrong with a quarterback in the NFL being a dual threat. I mean, that's the advantage, not a disadvantage. Yeah. But we live in this society, man, where we label guys, particularly black quarterbacks. We label that they one-dimensional. They can't throw. They can't, and it's just sickening to even think that a guy in the league who, I respect every player because every player have to, watch this tape of him or prepare for this, make sure he don't do this or don't do that. So he done had plenty ample time to see what this guy, what he brings to the table. And it's just like week to week, don't matter what they try. I mean, I hear, okay, they didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but come on, man, 30 teams out there that don't make it to the Super Bowl and have a great season. That don't mean they didn't have a great season, rather, but it just seems like his mirror is bigger than everybody else's, man. Like it just seems like there's a lot of people in this country waiting for him to fail, and he hadn't given them the luxury for that yet, man. But I'm almost to the point, like, what else more did this guy got to do, man, before he be considered like an elite quarterback? He's a franchise quarterback. You think that the Baltimore Ravens is gonna send him away, trade him? I mean, he's established there. Yeah, we'd be old and gone, and his kids still be in Baltimore as their quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean,
look at what they gave Josh Allen. What is 4 years, 285, something like that. Yeah, Lamar, that and more, and more. Yeah, and more. And
he's got a longer resume than Josh Allen.
Yeah, he does. I mean, 35 wins before the age of 25, most in NFL history. Yeah, he passed Dan Marino, who had 34. Come on now.
I sure wish I could take those games back and rehear what these announcers were saying from ESPN when Louisville used to come on television. This kid was, they being touted as a prospect, and all the garbage that they were saying about, he's not this. He's got to work on this, or I can't see him being drafted in the first round as a quarterback. They literally were saying that.
Yeah.
And everything I saw him do at Louisville was like, man, he really did that. He made that throw. He ran that run. I mean, I didn't see anything that he didn't do.
Yeah.
Unless he got on seeing something wrong.
Yeah, he got on my radar when they destroyed Florida State. Sorry, Ness, I got to say it. When they destroyed Florida State, I know they put up like 60 on him. And, dude, he ran and threw all over them all game. Couldn't stop him. Dude, untouchable. And I was like, yo, this guy's great. He's absolutely great. Like, this is not a gimmick. He's not, you had a lot of black quarterbacks in college football that can run and that can throw. And they were decent. But I said he tops them all. All of the ones that I have seen, he tops them all. I said, and Michael Vick drove it home for me too. Michael Vick, and they were talking about him, and I think he mentioned to Stephen A. It might have been Stephen. Was it Stephen A? It might not have been Stephen A. I forgot who it was, but he was talking and he was saying that he said Lamar's better than me. He said me at Virginia Tech. He said he's better. He's better already. He said it's not close. It's not particularly close. He's ahead of where I was, especially as a passer. We didn't see great passing from Michael Vick until year 9? I think year 8. I mean, that was him. That was Michael's fault. Michael talked about that. Michael talked about how he let the film tapes pile up on the back seat of his car. He let him pile up on the back seat. He said if he had took it seriously, if he had studied, if he had did the things he was supposed to do, he would have won at least one title in Atlanta. He believes that. I believe it too. He was that good. He just didn't take the game as serious as he should have. But you could tell Lamar is dead serious. I was talking to a buddy of mine. I said that Lamar's competitive spirit is akin to Jordan and Kobe. That look that those two got when it was eating time, when it was feeding time, and they had barbecue chicken in front of them. Those are the eyes that I see him have. Same eyes, same look that Brady gets when it's time to put in work. Brady and them were down 28-3. He had a look for the rest of the Super Bowl that I can't forget. He had the look on his face. It's that steely-eyed, stoic look. Like, yeah, I got this. Yeah, and that's exactly what Lamar looks like.
Oh yeah, I remember when the Jaguars went up there for the joint practices, and man, he just picked them. I mean, he carved them up like turkey. They thought he was gonna run here and run there. I think on a couple of those drives that the Ravens had, it was like 5 for 5, 6 for 7, 8 for 9 on drives that he was carving the secondary up, making throws, man. Kid is good, man. He understands. You know, one thing I can say about him is I think he hear the chatter. He works on his game. He done improved as a passer. Everything that he work on to become a better quarterback, he's done it since he's been in the league and even when he was in college. And you can't do nothing but respect a guy like that. You know, I mean, basically he's saying you can't say anything negative about me because I done worked on this, I done worked on that aspect, I done this. On these so-called draft experts saying he didn't do this, he need to do this better. He done all that. So ain't nothing, pretty much, you know, other than not getting a Super Bowl championship, there's not much you can say negative about him, which is, you know, a good thing.
Yeah, that's what Nesco said. Nesco said Lamar is for real. Only thing he needs to solidify his career is a Super Bowl. That's it.
Yep.
And then remembering, I'm still remembering with the criticism and I listening to people talk about it, I'm like, are we forgetting that this guy is 24 years old?
Yeah,
I mean, he came into the league at 20 years old.
Yeah.
And then he's 21, 22, 23. Now he's 24 years old, getting ready to be 25. Like, people, young quarterbacks don't win titles like that. It's an aberration. Go back and look at the Super Bowls, look at history, look at young quarterbacks and how often they've won Super Bowls. It's an anomaly. It doesn't happen that often. And when it does happen, they have superior teams. They weren't necessarily the greatest quarterback ever. They had superior teams at that time. Because you can look back when they were younger, they're better now than they were when they won the Super Bowl when they were young.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like Russell Wilson. It's no question Russell Wilson is better today than he was when he won the title.
Yeah. But, you know, you can't put guys on a higher pedestal than what they deserve to be on either, you know?
True.
Because we don't like him or he didn't do this or he didn't meet this measurable you know, the experts didn't think that he should have been a first-round pick. You know, I still fault the Jaguars for not selecting that kid that year and took Taven Bryan instead. You know, that was you know, we have Trevor Lawrence now in Jacksonville, and that's one thing. They didn't know anything about Trevor Lawrence in 2018.
Right. Yeah, he was in Cartersville.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is. But this is some motivation for Baltimore, motivation that they didn't need, but they're definitely going to have it now. And Logan Wilson, and they were saying that maybe this is, you know, I don't think it's a ploy to get him to throw more to try to prove that he's a great passer. No, because if the lane is there, he's going to take off.
Oh,
so, there's nothing you can do. His game is going to be dictated on what he sees you doing. So whatever y'all show him, that's what he's going to do. And I think they're going to scheme up Logan Wilson like teams scheme up Andrew Wingard every week. Yeah.
Well, that'll be some type of show.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I can't wait next week and see what the result was, because it's going to be interesting. They're gonna go after him for those comments, man. But hey, it is what it is. Give Lamar his respect. Yeah, man.
He deserves it.
He's good. He's good. So let's get into some more of these other NFL games. Start out with these Jacksonville Jaguars finally in the win column. No more consecutive losses in a row. No more not making a field goal for 5 weeks. No more coaching controversies at the moment. No more hiring controversies at the moment. No more things said at press conferences like vaccination status will be used in the cutting process moments. We've been a circus on and off the field for the last 2 months, 3 months or so. It's been crazy. But to get a win, finally getting the win column, I think it was huge. I think it was very, very big for Trevor, very big for Urban. You know, getting that taste, getting his first win. I think that's big for him too. But taking away all of this, and what comes out of this for me is Trevor Lawrence getting better every single week, because that's probably him developing is your most important task right now. Now you do need to build around him, of course, but he still has to continue to develop. Did you see Keyshawn Johnson talking about Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah.
What did you think? What did you think about that? And after you go, I'm gonna tell everybody kind of how it went.
Well, first of all, he had on Converses, and to have on the Converse and say just stupid mess like that. I mean, you know, I'm to the point, man, that no matter what, ESPN is a news creator. They're not a news gatherer. They're a news creator. And I mean, you're talking about a guy. I mean, and Dan's argument was correct. I mean, you're talking about a number one overall pick. Why was he number one overall in Jacksonville? Because they were 1-15. So it ain't like he had a whole lot of talent coming in here. And then when you talking about what Keyshawn's saying, well, you got to show me he's got to win. I mean, the winning part start probably in season 2 or 3. It don't start the first 6 weeks of the season. Now we definitely they should have beat Houston. You know, there's no question about that. But just to judge a guy on, okay, well, he don't have them. It's 6 games in, and he doesn't have them 4-2. Then you just, trash everything that he's done over the 6 weeks of the season. I mean, come on, man, that's not logical. I mean, you got to look at, he has 1 interception in the last 3 games. He had 7 in the first 3. That's improvement. I watched the Miami game. Miami was bringing the house and everything else on blitzes. He's reading blitzes. He's reading blitzes and changing plays at the line of scrimmage. Ain't a lot of rookies can stand up there in the pocket and be as calm as he was and change plays and then make the right read and make the right, whatever the hot receiver was, he was hitting them. So yeah, I think that I like. I mean, I respect the hell out of Keyshawn, but come on, man, that was made for ESPN to create some news on a slow news day.
Yeah, it was. Let's see, Nesco State it's frozen. I was hoping it would get through, but I'm gonna have some issues with the thing. So hopefully it's not frozen no more. Hey, Ness, let me know if it's still frozen, if it's still repeating. But we'll just continue because you'll be able to see it regular on the playback because the live feed is just going off, but it's still recording. So yeah. But yeah, Keyshawn, when I heard that, I was like, Dan Orlovsky broke it down. He broke it down, showing the throws. Yeah. I mean, stuff that, like he said, he got 6 start throws that he just shouldn't be. Yeah, it shouldn't be. And one of his best throws, he has a free rusher coming from his right, and he sees the free rusher, and he shuffles, turns, and throws it and get it out of his hands to James Robinson before the rusher gets there. And I said, dude, 2 weeks ago, that's probably a turnover, or he gets sacked. Yeah, I think that his mental clock has sped up. He's more careful with the football because, in college, the windows are like this, man. Windows, I mean, they're wide open. You get to the NFL, and that window's like this, and you got to fit the ball through it. And he started to see that, watching film, watching his footwork too, because his footwork gets sloppy. That's any quarterback, though. Like a lot of times your footwork gets sloppy. The ball, your delivery is off. You're too high, you're too low, and you're off target. You say your feet needs to be connected to your eyes. Yeah. And I'm seeing more of that from him. And, just his overall maturation. They said he told Urban, because they said, let's watch him make this game win a kick. They said, well, we're going to win the game anyway, whether he makes the kick or not, because we go to OT and we're going to win. Yeah. And that's the mentality I want him to have.
Yeah. Well, he said that during the week, that they wasn't going to London to lose. And it's just, I mean, I think the biggest adjustment for him was just the fact. I mean, Clemson played a great schedule, but I got to go back to Urban Meyer. That You know, the NFL is like playing Alabama every week. So when Trevor was in Clemson, yeah, they wasn't playing Alabama every week, but that's what he's facing every week in the NFL. And the speed of the game, he wasn't used to how these edge rushers can come off the come in and close that window as quick as they can. And yes, and let's face reality here, man. The Jaguars doesn't have a good offensive line, so even if they don't give up a sack, they closing in on him and it may forcing him to run out of the pocket. And you look at a lot of his throws, man, it's not easy to throw on the run on a rollout.
No,
I watched a couple of those passes that he completed to Jamal Agnew on the run. He almost got sacked through the Agnew 10 yards down the field. Those are not easy throws. And the pass that he made to Laviska to set up the field goal. I mean, he threw the ball down to get Laviska to go down quicker. He threw the ball purposely, threw it low. Those are decisions, man. Those you making split decisions. I mean, this kid's making split decisions like 4-year veterans right now,
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. It's nice to see. It's nice to see. It's things that we haven't seen from a quarterback in a Jaguars uniform, especially a young one developing. You saw the same mistakes over and over again as they grew. Blaine Gabbert never, the quarterback he is now is not what he was in Jacksonville. Of course, he's been better since then, but I mean, he just never matured, never corrected mistakes at no point. And you would think it was the Jaguars, because I blame the Jaguars for a lot of these kids' failures, and them not putting, especially Blaine. That team he had around him was awful. It was Maurice Jones-Drew and everybody else. Like, that's pretty much what it was. Yeah. Now Blake is different. Blake, he has some extra talent around him from time to time, and his mechanics, his throwing motion sometimes, his footwork, but more importantly than all of his physical tools, his mentality.
Oh yeah, and another thing about Blake used to go out to California. He had his hired quarterbacks coach that worked with him. He used to go out there all the time. I thought that was a mistake right there, man. If anything, he should have been in Jacksonville, and the Jaguars should have supplied him with somebody that they wanted to work with him to just have him more in-house on working on his mistakes instead of him being in California. Basically, he was in California. He was making it worse instead of making it better. I mean, he wasn't redefining anything other than making the same mistakes with his mechanics, is throwing off the wrong foot. And when you got a guy like him, I mean, the difference between Blake and Trevor arm strength is strong enough that even if he throw off his back foot and he throw a back shoulder throw, it's still going to reach the target. When you got a guy like Blake, he don't have the physical abilities as Trevor did. So when you got mechanics flaws and you lack arm strength, then what are you going to get? You're going to get flutter balls. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. Hey, Jacksonville should be thankful about this kid because he's not the problem. They 1-5. It ain't because of him.
Yeah.
They got to get the defense fixed. I think that's the biggest issue, and give the ball more to James Robinson, and then you solve those problems, then you might can win some more games and get a better offensive line.
Oh yeah. And I seen there's people there talking about coming to get James Robinson, because Jaguars are a losing team and them having a fire sale on players. And they said they was naming teams that need a running game. They was like, if you're not trying to go get James Robinson, you need to be trying to get him out of Jacksonville. And I'm like, no, that's not happening. That kid isn't going anywhere, man. Like, he's literally our run game. That's it. There's nobody. Carlos Hyde can't carry the run game like that, and none of those other backs behind him can. So,
he's actually there. Other than Trevor, he's their second best offensive weapon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now Sunday, I will say Marvin Jones, him and Marvin Jones look like what I thought they would look like from the beginning. I think as he gets more comfortable, you'll see him get more comfortable with Marvin Jones. Jamal Agnew is emerging. I think he would have had like 70-something yards Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they should have recognized that from the get-go. Even though he's a kick returner, he's probably the fastest guy on offense, man. And if he can return back kicks and punts, he can find openings in defenses.
Yeah.
I think he's a talent, man. And obviously he done showed it as a receiver.
Yeah, he has. Shoot that. And then defensively, I like what I saw. Josh Allen was, I think he's our first defender to get in the PFF, not the Pro Football Focus's 90 club. He had a 92.1 grade Sunday. I mean, he was unblockable for a majority of the game. He was in the backfield. If Tua didn't have such a quick release, he'd have been on the ground a couple times.
Yeah, he made that stop on that 4th down play, man. So that enabled them to get the ball back in that possession before the field goal. But one thing I did like about the Jaguars defense, I like the fact that Cullen did make some adjustments. I like the fact that they added a safety. They added 3 safety. They added Rudy.
Yeah.
And which basically put him in some man coverage on their tight ends after they was getting killed in the first half. And and another thing I liked about them, they wasn't strictly playing man, because I don't think they need to strictly play man ever again.
No.
Chop it up in quarters and play some zone, mix it up a little bit with man, but don't never, because they don't have the guys to play total man for the entire game. So, and they still got to solve. I think they still got to solve how to stop those underneath routes behind the linebackers, or just play. I suggest that just play the tight end straight up. Put your safeties on them. Put the safeties in man and just play just have him as a shadow guy, as they did a little bit in that game Sunday. If that's the hot guy, Kaseki was the hot guy, then you put a safety on him, and then you basically covering up for Wingert, because he can't do that.
Yeah. Hey, well, hold on, Mr. Reid. Let me see if I can go out, come back in, if that'll fix what's going on. So hold on for me real quick.
All right.
Okay, I think that did it. I think that's it right there. Oh well, no, I got the connection. Say connection unstable still. Oh well, it is what it is. I don't think I can go. Think I could do anything other than that. And if I end it, we'll have to restart on another one. But I mean, it is what it is. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I seen them praise Rudy Ford. They praise Andre Cisco. Who else? Oh, Quarterman. Quarterman flying all over the field.
Yeah, they got to get him more snaps, man. This kid,
yes.
he's busting out of the seams trying to make plays, and they got to find ways to get him on the field, man. He's a playmaker. You gotta find a way to get him on the field. You don't want him to go to the Jets like your other linebacker. So
man.
You don't want to be another Quincy Williams, so you gotta get him on the field. I mean, he's busting his chops trying to get out there on the field, and just having him play special teams and a couple of snaps is not gonna get it, man.
Yeah.
You got to come up with some packages, put them in some packages, get them on the field. You gotta, I've been saying this all along, man. You have to, no matter what, if you got talent and you 1-5, you gotta utilize your talent, man. You gotta come up with special. If you gotta do packages, you gotta change your defense up, whatever it takes. you got to get your best players on the field, man. And just like you say, I think Rudy Ford, you got to find a way to utilize him because I think he does a great job at coverage. I don't know if he's a big hitter and all that, but I think
Yeah.
he's way faster than Wingard, and you could play him in a situation where he's straight up over the tight end to stop all those underneath. He just be like the shadow. Or he can. He's the guy that's traveling with the tight end, and just let him be that guy. Add that third tight end on third downs if that's where they're gonna, play your percentages or whatever you want to do, and just if they're looking like on third down that most of these teams are going with the underneath route on that play, have them in the game. Even if you have to take one of your outside linebackers out, or have to take one of your insides out, but take the slot corner out and put him in the game.
Yeah.
But he's big enough, he's fast enough, and he's definitely showed that he can keep up. He can travel with tight ends and man coverage. That's what they got to do. You got to switch that stuff up, man. You got to make the adjustments. Because I'll tell you what, teams has hit them with the tight end plays over the middle since the Bengals. Even before that, Denver hit them a couple of times with Font, and it shouldn't take four games into the season after that's a weak spot to make that adjustment, which he did in this game in London.
Yeah. Even though Gesicki is that dude, man. So they had him spread out wide, and you could tell that you had linebackers and even corners sometimes struggling to keep up with Gesicki because he's fast for real.
And you're gonna have other teams that play out, but they're gonna force that tight end to line up wide, and they're gonna force their hand. Either you're gonna play us in a man, or he's gonna be wide open underneath. And you gotta get to a point where if that play is coming on, they're utilizing the tight end, even if I done seen teams use double tight ends on them. It's been spread both of them out.
Yeah,
but you got to start making this football team got to start making a more progress on defense, man. You know what they're gonna do. You know what your flaws are. You know what your weaknesses are. And it's in the back end of the defense. That's the problem area. There's the back end of the defense, and you can't. I think what Urban said on Monday that they switched. We can't play straight up man for the whole game, so we had to put in the zone coverage. Well, I could have told you by week 3 that that should have been in place after the third week if you got carved up as much as you've been getting carved up on it. So, but it is what it is. It's football, and you have to make adjustments. So,
yeah, you do. It's something, man. I'm just glad we got a win. Nevin Lawson coming in getting his first interception. Well, I'm trying to figure out where was Tua throwing that football, man. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I saw where he was throwing it, but I mean he couldn't have seen Nevin Lawson there because he just like he threw it straight to him. But I saw where he was throwing it at. And the criticism on him, it's interesting. Watching Tua, I'm like, dude, you got a quarterback here I think you can win games with, man. There's no doubt about it. This guy can play. He can throw. You can tell he'll have some issues from time to time throwing downfield outside the numbers. That's going to be an issue. But as far as anything intermediate and short, dude, it's his. Yeah. Every now and then he'll go downfield, and who knows? I don't know if he'll get better at that, if he can work at it. But I think right now, you shouldn't sell the farm on Tua. And they say it's rumored this week that the Deshaun Watson trade is supposed to go down very, very soon, sending Tua to Washington.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Miami is they got an owner who want to win right now. He don't want to wait. He want to win now. He felt that they did all the sacrifice to get the quarterback Tua, and we shouldn't have to wait while he's here, and that's the feeling. I mean, they feel from their evaluation that he's not what we thought he could be to help us. Even if they won 10 games last year, we don't think we got that guy yet. And they ready to pull the trigger. They've been negotiating with the Houston since the start of the season on trying to get a deal. It's just that Houston is asking for so much,
Yeah.
But they've been negotiating since September on trying to get a deal done. And man, I don't know. I mean, Miami, I think they got talent, but I don't think Miami has the talent that they think they have. I think they got a good defense. I think their offensive line is about as bad as the one up here in Jacksonville. They got offensive line problems, and I don't think they have an identity. I don't think they have an identity on offense. You don't know, if you're gonna be, if you probably got to get more than Waddle. And get a little bit more versatility at your receiver spot if you're gonna be that up and down team like that. But I mean, it's just a young team. I mean, the coach has all this pressure on them, and I think they done hit that panic button. You lose to Jacksonville, you done lost 5 in a row. You went up to New England on a season opener, and you beat the Patriots, and then everything, like all hell break loose after that. So I just think the expectations was way too high for that team. And last year, you might as well would say that 10-win season was a little overrated, and the fact that they didn't make the playoffs and they won 10 games.
Yeah. I think that was a mixture of having decent talent.
Yeah.
You had great quarterback play from Fitzpatrick in the beginning, who you benched him for seemingly no reason because you thought they wanted to see Tua, of course.
Yeah.
But no reason to give Tua the job at that point. But they gave it to Tua, and them having a soft schedule last year had a lot to do with it too.
Yeah. And it just
So
raised
now,
expectations. Like, I say that's for the Jaguars. I just think you can't raise the expectations if your talent doesn't match what the top. You got to base your talent on what the top teams in the league have as far as their talent. And if it ain't on the same page, man, you ain't gonna go from 8-8 to 14-3 and win a Super Bowl. I mean, you can go back and see what Tampa Bay did. Tampa Bay talent, from what they got, it just wasn't Brady. They went out and got like the best at positions. It just wasn't that we just got Brady. They went out and got the receivers, added to the receivers, and got their offensive line better. The defense good, and that's what it takes to win, man. It ain't just one guy. You got to have a system in place, and you got to have talent across the board. And if you don't have that right, hey, Kansas City, I tested them. Hey, Kansas City had Patrick Mahomes. They had the tight end, but last year their offensive line wasn't good. And what happened? It showed up in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it did. It did. So, but overall, great win by the Jaguars. I think that this is something to build off of. Nesco already called it. He said, we're going to beat Seattle in Seattle. I don't know about that one. Just like I don't know about just like I didn't know about this week, of course. And he was right about this week, but I don't know. Even without Russell Wilson, man, Geno Smith could light up this secondary. So
they got the horses and at wide receiver that's a little better than what they saw with the Dolphins. Put it that way. And the defense a little better, especially the defensive front.
Right, because DK Metcalf is
he's the real deal. I don't care who the quarterback. If he get the ball in there, it can be lights out.
Yes, at any given time. Tyler Lockett is electric. You got to call. I forgot the running back. He was toting the mail the other night. Man, I can't think of his name. Got the dreads, but had a decent running game.
Yeah.
Now defensively, I don't know. I think the Seahawks are they're not. I won't say awful, but they're not very good defensively. They're just not.
Yeah, especially the secondary.
Yeah.
Defensive front okay, but their secondary linebackers is no longer what they used to be.
Nah, it ain't the Legion of Boom at all no more, especially on that back end.
Yes, sir.
You got a bunch of guys back there now. Dude, even Jamal Adams from time to time, dude, still looks like, I mean, he just doesn't look like a top safety in this league sometimes, man. It's amazing to me. I say, has he regressed? Well, like I wonder what it is.
Freelancing. He's freelancing. He's doing what he, trying to make a play, overdoing it. Not disciplined. Trying to make a play on every play. I've seen that too, man. He overrun plays, trying to knock a guy head off, don't wrap up.
Yeah.
All over the field.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with him. Speaking of which, I did watch that. Something that happened Sunday. So the Chargers were getting beat down by the Ravens. Yeah. I mean, getting spanked by the Ravens. And they cut from the Chargers game because that was a national game. That was a national 1:00 game that was pretty much shown all around the country. They cut from that game because they were blowing the Chargers out and went to Washington, Kansas City. That was like in the 17-13 game. And I was like, I get why they did it, of course. That game, the Chargers aren't coming back most likely. And if they do start to come back, they'll go back to it. But I think they cut from it too early.
Yeah. Well, who made that call? CBS?
CBS had to make CBS made that call.
Or the local affiliate here in Jacksonville.
Hey, I wonder. Because watching that, I'm like, dude, come on. But it happened. I've seen a couple of people complaining about it outside of Jacksonville. So, yeah, they changed it a bunch of places.
No, man, I don't like that, man.
I don't like that either. Let them sit and stew in that loss, please.
Yeah.
Now, and I get it. Patrick Mahomes' box office. I get it. But come on now. I didn't like that. This Packers Bears. So have you? I know you done seen Aaron Rodgers now after he scored the touchdown.
Yeah.
Saying, I own you. He said, I've owned you for I don't know however many years he's owned them. And now he's getting some backlash for saying that. And I like he went on the podcast and he was talking about, he said, so you could buy your ticket and pretty much say whatever you want to say to me, and which you should be able to. But as soon as I say something that's caught on the hot mic, it's a problem, it's an issue. I'm like, are people still that sensitive? I mean, let's be honest. He's 30-8? Yeah, no, not 30-8. It's something crazy. It's like 20-8 against them in his career. 20-4, some crazy number. That Brady is 30-8 against the Jets. That's the one I remember. But he's like 20-4 against them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah. So he does in fact own the Chicago Bears. Like, they can't beat him. So that was stupid to me when I saw that.
Yeah, but I saw the play. He ran in a touchdown. The guy understands was the first one to yell something at him, and he turned around and said, I own you. He was being a fan. Man, he walked from the end of he was in the far corner end zone, walked over there, and he said it a couple of times. I own y'all.
I still own you.
Yeah, I still own you. Well, it's football, man. Come on, man. What do you want the guy not to say? He was responding to the fans.
Yeah.
And ain't no telling what that. I didn't catch what the fans said, so he probably was an expletive or something. So he did what he did, made a great football move. He scored. He ran. Aaron Rodgers ran in a touchdown.
Yeah, he did. So
we get too sensitive, man. It's too sensitive league, man. I mean, this guy, they're gonna celebrate. They're gonna talk trash in the end zone. They're free to do that. And the Bears got a problem. Win the game.
Yeah, if you don't like it, stop them.
Yeah,
like Cam Newton told the Titans that 1 year, they got pissed off and wanted to fight him in the end zone because he got in the end zone and started dancing. And he said in the press conference, he said, "Well, if you don't want me to dance, then don't let me in."
Hey, that's
it's pretty simple.
Especially when they're playing in Chicago. You shouldn't have that. You shouldn't have a guy his age running in for a touchdown, and when you're home field.
Right.
So, hey, man, it equalizes, man.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And oh man, and then Keyshawn Johnson talking about, well, Trevor Lawrence, yeah, I'm all of this generational talent, and you build them up. I want my quarterbacks, they generational to win games. They got to win games. And then he was like, there was 3 guys that could have went number 1 in the draft. And like, no, Key, no, are you serious? No, Justin Fields, no, Zach Wilson, no, none of them could have went number 1. If they went number 1, it would have been a mistake by whoever took them number 1 outside of Trevor Lawrence. No.
He loves Justin Fields. I mean, Justin Fields a good talent, but come on,
I
man.
get it.
His argument didn't even justify. Now, if he was making his argument, and we in week 10 or going into week 14, and they won in 14 or something like that, yeah, you can make that argument. But come on, six games into the season. I mean, a team that went 1-15, coach is a distraction. In which Lawrence didn't have nothing to do with it. The defense bad. I mean, what does a bad defense have to do anything with Trevor Lawrence?
Right. Yeah. What does that have to do with Trevor Lawrence?
You got to give this guy a break, man. He is what he is. I criticize all of them. It doesn't make any difference to me, but I ain't no way in the world I'm gonna criticize this kid from having 7 interceptions the first 3-4 weeks of the season to having 1 over the last 3 weeks. He's done everything better. But reality is the offensive line without 2 starters. They really didn't have they signed a tight end basically off the street.
Yep.
You lost your top receiver, DJ Chark, and then it took them 4 weeks into the season to realize they had a weapon in James Robinson. No, none of those issues is Trevor's fault. That's the coaching. That's calculating their own talent.
Mm-hmm. And how many games that were winnable up until this point? Yeah, 1-5, but how you can really make a case for 3-3. You can certainly make a case for 2-4. And some people I've seen make cases for 4-2, man. If you could finish games, that's been the issue. Can't finish games.
And then for Keyshawn, he need to go back, look at the touchdown throw that Trevor did to Marvin Jones in the corner. Ask himself, how many rookie quarterbacks could make that throw on this year's class? How many rookie quarterbacks can lead the receiver in the end zone and the ball is right there once he gets separation?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Dude, he was the only quarterback on the field that can make that throw Sunday.
Exactly.
I don't think Tua can make that throw, at least not consistently.
And that's one thing I noticed. There's a difference between Tua and Trevor.
Yes, it was very apparent every time they touched the football.
Yep. Even on the drive that he took them downfield and scored 2 on that opening drive. Man, this kid is good, man. I don't even have to harp on it no more, like we talked in the summertime. But if they put talent around Trevor, it's to utilize the run game so he can throw play action passes. And if he can get in a situation where if you really look at them, their offensive line is not giving up a whole lot of sacks, but they are having him flushed out the pocket. And he's forced to throw a lot on rollout plays, and those are not easy completions, and he's completing them. But just imagine if he has a pocket that's clean, where he can drop back and have time to find a receiver, or have a receiver that's fast and have 3 of them, where if he don't hit the first option, the second or the third is there. He don't have all that yet. You don't have third options. I mean, we got a converted kick returner who came in the lead as a cornerback, and he's pretty much maybe his third option now. So I mean, it's talent. He doesn't have talent. And I actually think overall, the Jets have a better offensive line than the Jaguars, and they got some pieces on their team is a little better than the Jaguars. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you got to call a spade as a spade, man. They 1-15, and the talent is not there. And they 1-5, and I think 1-5 doesn't have anything to do with Trevor Lawrence.
No, I don't think so either. Let's see. Okay, we still good on YouTube. I think we still good on Twitch. It's Facebook though. Facebook is just keep looping a certain segment. We were talking about Lamar, just keeps looping it. So, but after we end the broadcast, it should go out full, and they be able to go back and watch it. It's just that whoever watching, unless they comment on from Twitch or YouTube, I ain't gonna be able to see them comment. Well, I'll be able to see them comment, but they're not going to see us talking right now. They're going to see that what we talked about Lamar earlier right now. Just keep looping.
Well, Facebook, man, they've been taking punch to the gut, man. They got to get it together.
No, they have, but it was my internet though. My connection is good now. What I know what to do next time though, because I saw that before I started, and I didn't think nothing of it because I've seen it before. But now I know what to do now. So don't start it until that goes away.
Yeah,
try to rectify whatever's going on. But anyway, 2 games that really caught my attention that was just great games. Patriots Cowboys was a great game.
Yeah,
that was a good game, start to finish. Mac Jones, I like what I saw from Mac Jones. But even watching Mac Jones, watching Zach Wilson, watching Justin Fields, Trey Lance, these guys don't have the arm talent, man. Not that Trevor has.
Yeah,
they're good. They're good. Don't get me wrong. I think Trey Lance has his potential is very, very high. Trey Lance is. Justin Fields too, but I think Trey Lance can reach another level that the others can't outside of Trevor Lawrence. But watching them Sunday, Mac Jones. You got to ask the question though. They're 2-4. Do they have a better record with Cam Newton at quarterback? It does make you wonder.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean,
I'm for starting the rookie now. I'm for go ahead, putting him in, get his feet wet, because then you can figure out whether you're Miami or not. Because Miami wanted to get Tua out there, and they found out quickly, this might not be the guy.
Yeah.
So I get it. I'm for that.
Yeah, but I think there's so many more issues with the Patriots. I mean, I think that they can't win at home, man. I think they're 0-4 at home. It looks like they're having issues on defense. I don't see the talent at the receiver spots.
Oh man, now I'm starting to have other issues with the broadcast. Mr. Reid, can you hear me? Oh no, I don't think you can hear me. Oh man, we might have to end this stream early. Yeah, we might have to end this stream a little early. So let's see. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna restart the stream. I don't care. This is what I'm going to do. Okay. Let's see. So let's paste here. And let's paste here. going to end this broadcast. All right, so I'm going to end this broadcast, and then we're going to jump on part 2. Anybody can see this watching. I think you can see it on the playback. So look for part 2.